building your competitive alter ego. There's some dogs that naturally bite. There's some dogs that don't bite. How do you take a dog that doesn't bite and turn them into a dog that does bite? How do you flip the switch? How do you become more aggressive? This series of worksheets is exactly for you. Aggressiveness. We want to build a competitive alter ego. If you look at the top UFC fighters, they all have a nickname. They all have an alter ego, something they call themselves, or an image that they portray about themselves. You look at some of the top football players. Deion Sanders became Prime Time. Chad Johnson became Ocho Cinco. The Boz, right? You look at even the top singers and songwriters. They weren't born with those names. A lot of times these top performers, these rock stars, they have a name change to signal a different alter ego on stage, to get them out of their shell, to bring out more of themselves than they normally did in the past. Eminem, Marshall Mathers became Slim Shady. Beyonce says when she's on stage, she calls herself Sasha Fierce, right? How do you go from being a quiet, shy person to now perform in front of tens and thousands of people? A little bit difficult. So you flip the switch and you don't necessarily deal with those stressors, but you let your alter ego deal with them. You let your alter ego deal with them. So what you want to do is come up with a name and an image of what your alter ego is going to look like. What is it? We have some athletes, one athlete calls himself Bulldog, another athlete calls himself Charlie Sledgehammer. It doesn't matter what it is, it's just got to make sense to you. A great business owner I know, he identifies as a lion. He has pictures of lions all over his house, statues, and you can see for him, he looks at himself as a lion. That's his competitive alter ego that allows him to get more out of himself than he would have in the past. So, what's your alter ego? Be creative. Use the great God-given imagination you have to work for you. As a kid, you do this all the time. You dress up like superheroes, you put a cape on your back, and now you're Batman. Now you're Superman. Or imagine playing basketball with your friends, shooting a jumper, and you say Jordan, or you say Kobe, right? That's kind of getting into that alter ego. We have that imagination and that creativity as a kid, but then as we grow up, we let go of it. Don't. You want to use your creativity to your advantage. So take a moment and write down your alter ego. Now that you've written down your alter ego, a new person has been born. Write down the date. Today's the birthday. Happy birthday to your alter ego. So now that you see over time, this character is developing. He's evolving over time. And what you're doing now is you're able to access a different part of your brain and a different part of your emotions than you would have in the past. Now, just as you have an alter ego and you have a new name for that alter ego, you want to have a name for your inner wimp. All of us have an inner wimp, an inner wuss voice that's negative, that's, just stinking thinking, always pulling ourselves down, criticizing, blaming, complaining, very self-conscious. I don't want to compete in front of people. We all have it. Be honest with yourself. You want to put a name to it. And the reason why is once you name that inner wuss, you can tell it to shut up. If it doesn't have a name, you can't tell it to shut up. But if it does have a name, you could confront it. So you want to have an alter ego and you want to have an inner wimp name. What are they? So for me, I picked the alter ego name as fanatical. And then the inner wimp is soft, right? You don't want to be soft. You don't want to be a wimp. You don't want to be Mr. Softy. So there it is. It's written down right there. The alter ego and the inner wimp. Take a moment and write down what works for you. Now that you have your alter ego and you have your inner wimp, you want to write down different qualities in each one of these two characters, right? So what are the qualities that your inner wimp has? And what are the qualities that your alter ego has? Separate them, make it a difference. And now remember, these are both coming from you. So you want to dig down deep here. Scratch the surface and actually say, what am I overly concerned about? What are my doubts? What are my fears? What are my insecurities? Be real. We all have them. We're human. We're going to have doubts, fears, and insecurities. There's going to be times we blame other people. What is it about you, those qualities that you don't necessarily like? Like for me, I don't want to let down my dad when I'm competing. I want to look good in front of all my friends. I don't want to get laughed at. I don't want to get made fun of, right? I don't want to go all out and then come up short of my goals, feel like I'm not good enough. So I'm going to put all those qualities in the inner wimp voice. And then the alter ego is going to be different. The alter ego is going to be, I don't care what other people think about me. And that's not in the sense that I'm mad at other people or I don't like other people. It's just I'm unconcerned by their judgments about me. I love competing. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. I love the aggressiveness. I love that it's a legal fight, right? Sports is war. I build that all into my alter ego. All those cool attitudes that I wish that I had, I'll build that into my alter ego. And then I'll shift my focus. Whenever I start getting the Mr. Softy voices, I'm going to shift back to my alter ego. That's who I want to be. This is what I'm bringing to the table. So the rest of these worksheets here in the Aggressiveness series is going to be all about building up this alter ego, making this personality, making this character come to life. You're not going to want to miss it. Mindset makes the difference.